Chris.
Now, Chris, you told me you're a Georgia Tech, you go to Georgia Tech, but are you a Georgia Tech fan?
I guess by default.
And you said you're really not a football guy, right?
No, not really.
Are you a sports guy at all?
Not really.
So you're more of an intellectual, right?
Sure.
What moves you? I mean, what do you like? Poet? What? I mean, what?
I'm an engineer, so I'm pretty into science.
Okay, good. You said you're going to school for combustion?
Yeah, acoustics and combustion dynamics, which is preventing combustion from making so much noise that it destroys engines, basically.
Have you heard, I mean, here's where I asked you, I wanted to talk to you, I wanted to pick your brain. You've heard about the things that happen in Paris, right? The attacks. What is the solution to that problem? In your opinion?
Yeah, in 2 minutes?
Just give me the short of it.
Okay, well, I think that religion was pretty heavily implicated in the motives of the attackers, pretty obviously. They said it very clearly and say it very often. And so, I mean, what they were doing was basically an act I mean, they were in a state of religious ecstasy, basically. So they thought that what they were doing would make them martyrs and bring them into heaven, and there's no reason to think that. And I think that generally...
So that ideology is kind of messed up, right?
It's very messed up, but more generally, the idea that you can just believe something with no evidence is a pretty bad state of mind.
Do you think they're wrong in their thinking? I mean, if it's based on everybody's opinion, then...
What's based on everything?
Well, they believe that they do these things for their faith, you know, whether how twisted it may be, but that's what they believe. And there's a lot of other people around the world that have different faiths that believe something different.
Yeah.
But yet, can you actually say, well, no, they're wrong?
I can, yes.
And what would you base that on?
Well, what would you base their being correct on? I mean, they're referencing a very old, very superstitious book of myths to justify their actions, just like lots of other people in lots of other religions do. And it's just as untrue when they do it as when anyone else does it.
I take it you're an atheist.
I am.
Why did I know that?
Because you're so perceptive.
Why are you an atheist?
Because I don't see any particular reason to subscribe to mythology to explain why we're here, or to give us moral guidance, or to make our lives meaningful.
Could you be wrong?
Sure. I could be wrong about anything.
Right. So therefore, if you are wrong, all right, and again, I thank you so much for taking the time. I told you I wanted to pick your brain because I really wanted to see where you're at with this. But if you are wrong, and there is a God, and on Judgment Day you will have to stand before him, how do you feel about that? Would you be fearful?
Look, you're basically describing Pascal's wager. Which,
no, I'm not.
How is it not Pascal's wager?
Well, because his theory is something different from what the Bible actually says.
No, but the point is, his wager was, if you have that I would lose more. It's riskier for me not to believe in God if there is a God than it is for you to believe in God if there's no God. That's basically the long and short of his wager.
Okay, but you value your eyes, don't you?
I do, yes.
Okay, and you wouldn't sell them for any amount of the money in the world, right?
Probably not, no.
But yet, you have a soul. And on Judgment Day, but let me ask you this, and I know it seems like we're going to bang heads here, but my concern is this. You don't know everything, but yet I know the one who does know everything, because I can see creation and proof that there's a creator. I know that we both have a conscience that tells us right from wrong. Now, you can choose to rebel against that conscience, say, well, you know, I don't want to believe it for whatever reason, but it still doesn't take away from the truth. And yet, here's my question to you is, wouldn't you want to know the truth if it could be shown to you?
I would like to find out the truth through a process of inquiry and doubt and thinking, and I don't trust, frankly, the promises of old books of myths.
But you trust man and evolution, and that we came from apes, and in the beginning there was nothing, but they have no idea how all this came about. But you trust in their theory rather than...
Those are conclusions drawn from very long processes of rigorous scientific debate.
But man can be wrong.
Yes, they can, but I think it's far more likely to be wrong just by reading it out of a book written in desert age Palestine by peasants than it is by following a rigorous process of discovery and inquiry.
Have you ever read that book?
I have, yes.
Okay, and what's your problem with it?
I mean, many, but I don't think that I would have time to.
Okay. Well, hey, we're going to be banging heads, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave you with this, and I thank you so much. Just take the time, because I'm out here for one reason, and that is to tell people the truth.
Yes,
and yet, you know what? Because on Judgment Day, I believe that you're going to be without excuse, and you're going to wish that that thinking would have changed.
Without excuse for what? So no matter how good I am as a person, no matter how many good things I do, as long as I don't acknowledge that, in this case, Jesus...
Well, are you a good person?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Have you ever lied?
Yes.
Ever stolen anything? Even if it was small, downloading music, anything, cheated on a test? We all have. All right, so you're a lying thief, just like I am.
Sure, if you want to put
right.
it that way.
Have you ever used God's name as a curse word, blasphemy? Said, oh, God, the D word.
Yes, but then again, I don't think that that is anything like immoral.
The Bible says it's wrong.
The Bible also has a lot of very unsavory things to say about people in the Old Testament.
But the point is, we're dealing with you saying that you're a good person. All I'm trying to at least establish is with you that in God's eyes, whether you believe in him or not, according to the Bible, it says there is no one good, not even one. We have all sinned and fallen short of God's glory. You think bad things, you say bad things, and we do bad things. So therefore, in God's eyes, you're not good. Neither am I. We're wretched sinners.
Well, look,
because the definition of good is perfection. I don't mean that to you.
That is a. I really need to go because I have to get back to work. But that is just a really hand-waving definition. You're defining good as what God says it is.
Well, that goes back to my point, though.
Arbitrary.
But here's my point, and we'll end with this. I asked you about what those people, if they were doing, was wrong, and you said yes.
Yes, because
but you're basing that on your opinion. Unless we have a higher authority that tells us that it's wrong, then it's opinionated.
No,
is that not so?
No, it isn't.
Explain that to me.
Okay, I don't have time to, but there's a book that has. I don't suppose you've heard of Sam Harris.
Okay.
Have you?
No.
Okay, well, look up Sam Harris. He's written a book called The Moral Landscape, in which he attempts to derive a coherent morality from just physical facts. And it's very doable. That's all I'll say.
Can we have a conscience that guides us to right and wrong?
I think yes.
And where does our conscience come from?
I really don't have time to
continue this conversation. Dear gentlemen, I appreciate your time, all right? Read it when you get a chance, okay? Yeah. Thanks again.